chance to hear it, so let her tell it. People on the streets say Sabrina speaks. Tune into the show, she will let you know. Tell all your friends and family. Real talk is no joke. You get the news straight up from grassroots and concerns. You hear some people gone. So tell all your friends to tune in to
Good evening, Cayman. I'm Sabrina Turner, and welcome to Sabrina Speaks, your daily dose of clarity, truth, and community insights. Every weekday from 5 to 6:30 p.m., we're tackling the issues that affect you, from national headlines to grassroots concerns. Whether you're in traffic or winding down your day, this is your chance to hear it straight and speak your truth. So buckle up, Cayman. We're not holding back.
This is the show. We gotta let you know. Now we got to go.
And now here's Sabrina.
Good afternoon, Cayman Islands, and good morning to our global family. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks. Happy Monday to everybody. We're Voices of the Islands, conversations for the world. And the podcast where voices rise, stories unfold, and inspiration takes center stage. I'm your host, Sabrina. How has it been? Hope everybody's had a fabulous weekend. Yes, and excited to embark on this week, 1 week and days closer to Christmas Day. Yes, what a weekend it has been. But before we go into that and just do a little cap of what I was up to, maybe you want to share what you were up to. Embrace the Monday. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and I'm hoping that you've had a productive day thus far. So guess what I hope all of you did today? I hope that you chose to be happy. You let go of what's gone and be grateful for what remains. And you looking forward to what is on the way. Yes, I really, really am wishing you all a truly amazing week ahead. And it's just amazing, the feeling that is in the air. Everybody's excited. I see people having their Christmas parties, looking their best, and just excited to just embrace what the holiday is. But we've had a very busy weekend. From the marathon on Sunday, pounding the streets, even a few injuries that I bumped into today. All y'all who out there jogging, and hey, it happens. It happens. If you've been doing this for, let's say, 5 years, 6 years, each year you're getting a little older and you're more prone to injuries. But kudos for all of you who took part in the marathon. Congratulations to all of you. And then you go back to Saturday night. I'm going back in reverse with the Christmas market. Huge success. That event continues to grow. Kudos to all government agencies that was able to pull that off. Yes, it was beautiful. And even though I passed through very briefly, I was hanging with family, to be honest. And I just went and we had a good time. And there was a Jeep, there was a motorcade with a bunch of Jeeps that were just decorated. At first I thought it was the Coca-Cola thing, but I said, no, that's not the Coca-Cola one. My aunt said that was later on. And then we were just passing right there in the vicinity of Peppers and Marquee, and it was just mayhem, but good type of vibe. Everybody in their Jeeps, all decorated, and everybody was just waving. It was really, really nice for the portion that I caught on Saturday night. And then guess what? The circus was in town as well. Yeah. Then, like I said, all of the parties that took place to all of the resorts, and however you chose to do it. I know some of you prefer to do a luncheon. Some go into the parties at night. and all of that sort of stuff. A few, you even did a weekend staycation just to make sure that you stayed on site for your staff party. Kudos to all of you. Well, that kicks off the holiday season, and kudos to all of you who dress up and just be nice. You never know. Can wonder which one Carol is going to be, a third, fourth, or wheel. I didn't say that. I didn't call her name. No, I did not. I wonder who she's going to hook up onto. Yeah, I can see her now, but I need to see pictures. Please. Big up to Antoy, who fixed me up really good. All the festive bling bling. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for definitely taking good care of me. I appreciate all of the people in my life. And I gave thanks, just like how we celebrated Cayman Thanksgiving this weekend. However you chose to celebrate it, I give thanks to everyone who God has put in my life, whether they're the people that cut the yard, to those who deal with my nails, and deal with my attitude when they're doing my hair. But that goes both ways. But you know what? That is the lighter side of this weekend, but I hope everybody had, they accepted the fact that Cayman was definitely and is definitely alive. Everyone is open for business, and I'm hoping that you all are having a blast. Even the seafarers. Yeah, the seafarers had their party as well. Yeah. I wonder who won those prizes. Yeah, those tickets were good, and it was for good cause, of course, every year. The Seafarers Association, they put on their party the first Saturday of December. Yeah. But joy met reality as well, as I was scrolling through some of the headlines as well that happened last week. And I think you may have seen it as well, and may have heard the chatter. I've heard it a few times while I was out and about. That 2 cruise ship visitors were actually robbed at 7 Mile Beach. And even though there were 2 separate incidents, one of them had their chain ripped from their neck, and that was the man. And a woman, when a woman tried to assist, she was pushed on the ground. You know how that goes. And then, but thank God she walked away with minor injuries. But Cayman, we need to, those experiences, unfortunately, they walked away with something more serious. And I'm feeling and fearing that if we don't get to nip this in the bud very quickly, that it's going to be a huge dent in our jurisdiction's reputation. So let's be clear. Cayman's reputation thus far and for years, building on a strong foundation of tourism and, of course, the financial industry, but it all plays in when it comes to safety. And, it's really been built on our safety, our tourism product, the warmth of our people, and definitely where trust is concerned. And visitors who come here, not just, for sand and sea, but because they believe that this is really exactly the place and one of the safest places in the Caribbean. But that reputation is also our currency. And I want people to remember that a great deal. And it keeps cruise shippers coming. It definitely keeps our hotels filled and taxis as well. And of course, our vendors thrive as well. But when crime touches our beaches or anywhere where it's, like really hitting home, it touches our economy and our image and definitely our identity. And we need to do what we have to do in order to make sure we keep that at bay. We don't want crime, be it to our visitors or ourselves, period. It's a no-no. It's a no-no. But the implications that could have when you actually see that coming now. And I'm not calling any names or assuming, to the best of my knowledge. I am not aware if they apprehended anybody, if anybody has been arrested for those 2 offenses. I'm not aware. But we don't want to be pointing the fingers at this stage until and even when. It's hard to say without them being apprehended for doing this. But I think this now definitely should ramp up, not only because it's the holiday season, period. We're even more cautious during the holidays. You've heard me speaking about that here on this forum before, but we really, really need to get this into the at the forefront and nip this in the bud. And this is why incidents like these must be nipped in the bud immediately, because we cannot afford complacency here. And to be honest with you, safety isn't a luxury, you know. It is really the bedrock. It's the foundation of our tourism industry, our community, and our pride. But I tell you what, when people start saying, you know, we've heard this conversation and I've seen the comments that the vendors should be removed from the public beach or the vending must be regulated, which they have been trying to do that at the end of the day and properly monitored. It's because of these really, you're seeing those safety concerns and all of that sort of stuff. But our population has changed. I know that the governments, even my government, when we were there, tried to actually deal with this this issue and trying to get it regulated and so forth. You know, and it's an ongoing thing. So today I am going to just talk about what this means for the Cayman Islands. We'll explore as well the impact that it could have on our tourism and the role of enforcement and the balance between livelihoods and the public safety as a whole. So I'll ask, how honestly do we protect our reputation while protecting our people? That is a genuine question. And I would love to hear your feedback as well, because civic accountability is not just about government, you know. It is all about it's about all of us. It's about every one of us. So I am going to definitely dive into this. And please be reminded that Parliament goes back on Wednesday, the 10th of November. I think I said the 11th when Mr. Belika and I were speaking. That's Thursday, but it's actually Wednesday, the 10th of November, even though I was corrected. Thank you. I was reading something, and I think that's when I replayed the show, I said the 11th instead of actually the 10th. But yes, and at that sitting, the undersea cable is going to be debated, and also the immigration bill that we have been speaking to and we have ventilated, and we still not finished. But I had to highlight this topic right here, even if we go back into a deep dive for the couple little clauses that we've not covered yet, which we've already covered in previous shows. But for the sake of this whole marathon of all of these clauses, we will delve into that in more detail tomorrow. The reason why I wanted to speak on this particular matter is because, you know, this is our tourist season right now, and we don't need this. I don't know who's hearing me, who needs to hear this message right now. I don't care where you're from. I don't care what the situation is. Just stop it. We need to really deal with this as a whole, as a country. And I'm hoping that the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service is actually really putting their muscles into this, understanding that during this time of the year, they're stretched even more because of the holidays. People are more busy. The streets vendors as in businesses, merchants are even more busy because we're all out and about doing our Christmas shopping. But definitely we're going to see a cruise and tourism, cruise and visiting stay over tourist. And we don't need these incidents happening here. We don't want them here. We want to put a stop to it. So that is why I thought it was important for me to highlight this article, to talk about it, but also with grace and understanding of all of the persons who make their living from tourism, but more so even delving in a little bit on those vendors, not to say, oh, get rid of them, but to have a real discussion in regards to that unfortunate situation and trying to just have civil discussions about it. On today's episode. Before we go into that, I know again, and I thank you for all your feedback. You're appreciating the weather. And I've been saying kudos to the Cayman Islands National Weather Service. Your weather forecasting has been on the money. Let me tell you something. And I thank you for doing such an accurate job. Kudos to the funding and that you're actually doing it. We're seeing it. But for this evening's weather, the synopsis calls for fair conditions with light winds and smooth seas are expected in the Cayman area over the next 24 hours as a frontal system approaches the Northwest Caribbean. Now, satellite images show a few low-level clouds drifting over the Northwest Caribbean. Tonight's forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with 30% chance of showers For the sister islands, temperatures will fall near the mid to upper 70s. Winds will be east at 5 to 10 knots, becoming light and variable at times. Seas will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Tomorrow's forecast calls for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will rise to the upper 80s with a heat index of 96 degrees. Winds will be easterly at 5 to 10 knots, becoming light and variable at times. The sea will be smooth with wave heights of less than 2 feet. Tides for today, it'll be a low tide at 7:29. Tomorrow there'll be a high tide at 12:52 a.m. and a low tide at 6:58 a.m. Sun will set this evening at 5:46 and sunrise at 6:48. Tomorrow evening sunset will be at 5:47. Nothing beats a spectacular sunset with a nice adult beverage. Yeah, I digressed. And the outlook is for similar weather conditions through Wednesday as a frontal boundary becomes stationary across the extreme Northwest Caribbean. So there you have it for all of you partiers and you revelers. Yep, I am giving it to you so you can plan. You see, like those little sunset watches that Jimin is going to do for me in 2026. Yeah, I can see us doing a few sunsets, right, Jimbo? I'm going to get to you. Happy birthday, shout outs. 89th birthday to Miss Beth. Happy birthday, Miss Beth, on your special day. We're wishing you many, many more, and I'm hoping that all of the kids spoil ya, especially Cheryl's. Her mama. Yes. But I'm wishing you many, many more birthdays, and God bless you always. And I really hope you had an enjoyable day. Yes. So there, help me join in wishing Miss Beth a happy 89th birthday. Look at how good she looks. OMG. Damn, you look good for 89. Enjoy your day, my love. God bless. And for all of you people who are visiting our shores, and I know you're planning on coming, and even our locals, I want to let you know that there's a sea itch advisory that has been issued by the Department of Environment, and they have received reports of jellyfish in the water along 7 Mile Beach. And we all know as islanders that this time of the year, when southwesterly winds occur, jellyfish traveling on offshore currents can be blown onshore. And these appear to be the timbal jellyfish larvae, which are known to cause sea itch when the larvae become trapped under swimwear. So there is a health advisory that has been issued. And for those of you, if you want to try and identify this, the symptoms of sea itch may cause skin irritation, itching, or rash. Reactions vary. Some individual may even experience stronger symptoms than others. So precautionary measures is please swim cautiously or consider avoiding the sea. If you're a true islander and you want true advice, just stay out of the water. When you get these kind of advisories, just don't even go near it. Go to a pool. Do not apply fresh water to stings, as they can worsen irritation. And recommended treatment is spray vinegar on affected areas. Anti-sting itch treatments may also be effective. So beachgoers are advised to exercise caution when entering the water. And if signs occur or stings occur, follow the recommended treatment steps and seek medical attention if symptoms persist or worsen. So take it from islanders, just stay away. Just keep out of the water, as tempting as it is. I know a lot of you may have spent hundreds of dollars to enjoy our beautiful beaches, what's left of them, and our water, and this time of the year from where you're coming from. But still, you don't want to go home with that, because I'm quite sure that is not something you actually had on your bucket list. Hey, Damian Henry, happy Monday to you, my love. Hi, Abby. Where have you been? Hope you're having a good day. Hey, Darlene. Good to have you all here. Miss Barbara, hope you're feeling better. Cameras, and more cameras. That's what they need. Oh, okay. Yep, I agree. I agree with you, Miss Barbara. Jimbo. You hear me faster with you? When I talk about those sunsets, Jimbo, I can just see us. dreaming. Yeah, darling, thank you for sharing in the birthday celebrations with Miss Beth. That is so sweet of you. Thank you so much for that as well. I only found out about it actually just before coming on, and I was scrolling through my page, and of course mine is saying nobody in my friend list, but of course it showed up on my timeline because yeah, Cheryl's is my friend, and I saw her post her mom, so that's why I was able to grab it from there. So yeah, there we go. So there you have it. So yes, I want to invite you to participate in this whole discussion, this forum, because this is impacting Earth tourism, please. And for those of you just joining us, good evening. Welcome to another episode of Sabrina Speaks. It is a pleasure to be here with you today. And like no other day, we have been doing great things, to be honest with you. And without you, it would not be possible. But, you know, we got to do our housekeeping. The content you're about to hear, including any discussions or opinions from myself, guests, and or participants, is intended solely for general informational and entertainment purposes. It's not a substitute for professional legal, medical, or financial advice. I encourage you to consult with a qualified professional for your specific concerns. Bridge Media Limited and all its affiliates disclaims all liability for any decisions or actions taken in reliance on the information presented. And thank you for all of my new subscribers. Oh, you are very much appreciated. And just as a matter of keeping you up to date, Sandra shared some stats with us today. And one particular show, we've gotten over 14,000 views. And I must say publicly, thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you. Whether or not you comment here, the mere fact that you're reviewing, you're tuning in, you may be one of those persons, just stay there, but you're listening. That's fine. We appreciate you because that means that we are actually providing you with quality information. And sometimes it does feel a little lonely, I must say. Where's Connie? Where's Connie Bonnie today? Anyhow, she'll probably pop up soon. But yeah, and it just goes to show, I do a lot of research, to be honest with you, and I try to keep things topical. I deliver in a way where it is informative and educational, and your participation is always the lifeline of this space. And I want to thank you. I thought it was only fair for me to share that with you. But now that was only one particular episode that she shared. And we will notice at the end of the day, yeah, oh, where can she be? Jim, you got a right to ask. I'm probably out shopping somewhere. But yeah, it's just amazing the traction that this show has gotten since we began in June. And I am very grateful. Please note that this is not being monetized, but it just goes to show the reach. It is important for me to know the views and see the views because it tells me that I'm reaching the masses. And that is why the discussion here means so much to me, because even if you don't comment to me directly, you don't comment on whatever you're streaming from, be it YouTube, Facebook, CMR, wherever, that's okay. I want to, oh, you're there. Jim, she's here. We appreciate you just dropping in. It says a lot. And this is why I got to keep my game up. I know some of you wish I could just be a little bit more aggressive at times. But I am just about delivering facts, and we can just hash things out here. I have great things in store for us coming for 2026. But you know, the end of the year, how it has been going, just getting my feet wet and all that sort of stuff. I felt we did well. I think I have embraced this with all my heart. And I will continue to deliver here at this level. I've definitely set the bar very high. And because of the whole budget and parliament and all that sort of stuff, and I take your feedback, you actually steered the ship and I delivered. I'm delivering. So, and this is why your feedback is so important to me. 936-8255. You can WhatsApp there. You can call in. Your feedback is key because that helps me actually create the content that I deliver here. Some days I go on the fly, which is why I love having open mic. But I'm going to be honest with you. I felt that there was a serious gap. There is a serious need in just explaining things in layman's terms many a times, nonpartisan. But this space is yours. This is your opportunity to voice your concerns. And we can just learn from each other and we can go and research it. So, yeah, at the end of the day, that is what this is all about. There will be times that I will see headlines that I will just dive into, like what you're seeing. We're not anti anyone or anything. We're just here going to air it. And that is why my opinion, personal opinion in many of these episodes does not matter if it is your space. I will be more than happy to moderate and do my research because, of course, I have to have content. That's why you come back. But you will never hear, boy, this, or I treat this one different or that. No, no. It's clean cut, straight. Let's do this together. And we just move along and we have the discussions. So, yeah, that is the aim. I'm looking forward to 2026, looking for some more deep, hard-hitting discussions as we look about what's happening internationally, what's happening right here locally that can impact every one of us. I am hearing even more so now than ever and let me digress a little bit before going into this, the reckless driving that I'm observing on the road and that people are, the big talk is these fees for driver's license. And people, I think now it's just soaking into people. I think I'm even hearing feedback from the civil servants. For them, they are just can't speak. But if it's going to impact the local market, it's going to impact locals as well. And what I'm hearing, surprisingly, is that even if the fees had to be increased, government has to make money. Yes, we know. But don't just do it for non-Caymanians and Caymanians. That I'm hearing more. I'm hearing more of that from even the locals, that they don't think it's fair and that somebody missed a mark here. That is the general consensus. And more people are going to be out and about now, and you're going to be speaking to them, be it quietly or softly in the aisles or in a parking lot or something like that. But the consensus is one and same in regards to that when it comes to these new fees for the driver's license. And again, resounding that only now you're going to have persons driving without license and registration. Yeah. And they're going to be, I actually heard someone says the very same traffic officers are going to be impacted by these increase in fees. And who to tell? Who's going to be monitoring them? You're going to have a same traffic cop who's on a contract just like his brother or his sister in the same thing and know that it's hard hitting. Who's going to monitor them? Yeah. So this is the bigger conversation about that is coming through. And I'm only quoting what I've heard or what is being discussed more widely is that they're feeling it should not have been like that. It shouldn't have been that high. And it should not have been just for expatriates. I am not no economist. I am not a know-it-all. But I really felt they should have done a little bit more homework on that. And I'm hoping then that maybe on Wednesday, the 10th, they will have their feedback, maybe in a statement using their parliamentary privileges to speak a lot about the things. Who to tell? They may actually be speaking about some of the stuff that we spoke here about. I'm just trying to educate myself and then share that with you. So at the end of the day, it would be good for them to say something in regards to that, but I don't think it's probably at a point where there's no return. I don't know. let's see what becomes. But from what we're hearing from those who have worked in the legal field and working closely with these laws and bills when they're tabled and they're going to Parliament, pretty much the notification period is just to tell the people it's a notice. If you want to weigh in on it, you weigh in on it. But it's like, this is what we're going with. And let's see what'll happen. But we will share the link here with you, cmrtv.com. I'm quite sure we'll also share it as well. And on the government channels as well, we'll be broadcasting that live. Hi, Marshall. How are you, my love? It's cold and snowing here. Lucky you. Keep it, my friend. Keep it. Just send us some northwesterly breeze and you can keep the jellyfish too. We don't want that to mess up. We don't want that to mess up our beachgoers at all. Yes. So at the end of the day, thank you for that. I just feel that if these monies don't get collected, I think we could be in a deficit. But you're free to call in 936-8255 to weigh in on this because we're getting hit with all of these new fees. The minimum wage is going to impact some more than others because that's another general consensus that pretty much it's only a very small sector of businesses that will be impacted by that because a lot of them were already paying over $8 anyhow. Some were 10 at their minimum, even government. But there are going to impact some of the micro businesses who can't, who's been feeling everything else, who may have a gardening company and they have a lot of non-Caymanians as well who's working with them. They have their vehicles that's going to license. Oh, a broader conversation, which I took offense to a little bit. General conversation, though, that some of the expatriates here have already sorted out a workaround of registering and licensing their cars. It makes sense because I had called it from the time I heard that, a lot of the Caymanians now will be owning multiple cars. Yeah. But they're also taking on the liabilities. Unintended consequences could come out of this. And at the end of the day, if that is going to be the case where a man can make a change, you call it a hustle, and you just license a car, the real owner of those vehicles need to understand that they're giving up their rights to own that car. If, let's say, they know that I'm a Caymanian and I'm going to register and license the car, I'm assuming that liability. And what is there to stop me from selling it? So I think a lot of you who may have that way out or thinking along those lines, this is a message to both parties. The expatriate, be careful what you're doing. The Caymanian who's taking on that liability, trust me, you don't want our relationship to go bad and then both of you fall out. That's a total different mayhem. And is there something in the law now that I'm talking about this, I need to look at that. How much vehicles can any one individual own without it being deemed a business? Is that anything like rental properties? That's something to think about. If one person owns 15 cars and they're not a rent-a-car or they're not a business, would that be picked up at the DMV? Interesting. Because, if you now see the average person, Caymanian, owning 7 cars as of when this goes into effect, you see where the enforcers need to enforce. But there may not be in a law that stops a man from owning 15 cars and not own a business. That's something to really think about. Wanda, how are you? The police service needs situation proactive commander that knows how to deal with all situations, proactive, not reactive. Oh, I kind of get where you're going. Yeah, they need to have, strategy is going to actually be the key here because a man, I gotta say this straight, a man gotta eat. but not to willfully break the law. And what I think people should have been doing right now, people as in agencies, once we knew that this was going to be the case, we should have looked at the laws to see if there were any laws that could be tightened up. And this is not to be dictatorship style, but that it limits, or if it's wide open that any Caymanian can own multiple vehicles and not have to own a business. I'm thinking as we go along here, that's an indirect business without a trade and business license. And you can't tell a man he can't own 50 cars. Interesting. For all of you persons out there who are in power, that's one scenario. So we don't know. Okay, put them over 60% of Caymanian business are small businesses. Yeah, and they're going to feel this. They are going to feel this like my name is Sabrina Turner. Marshall, not lucky. You don't like this. No, I love it. I love it. But I have to condition my mind. I love it. I actually love to vacation anywhere that's not tropical. If that's really, especially this time of the year, that's when you really feel like you're traveling, to be honest. Not bashing my regional brothers and sisters, but I like where it's cold. Unlimited what? Danny, explain for me. Red flags. Jim Norris. Red flags. Yeah. Oh, but the situation. Look here. That is going to be something, gosh. I was more thinking about it for Caymanians who are married to foreign nationals. And that's as far as my mind was going. And their spouses aren't yet eligible for Caymanian status. They're going to be impacted by these high fees because the law says Caymanian. And I know I dabbled into this a little bit on Friday, I think, on that open mic segment. But more and more this weekend, like 3 different conversations, separate locations, all different places. And it looks as though the conversations are being had. So it's going to be a very interesting 2026 for sure. Tartarian, that what they get. If they had followed the laws and do the right thing, be good and fair citizens, drive safely, none of this would happen to this extent. Mother says, if you don't hear, you feel. Not everybody can feel this, Tartarian, but Caymanians could probably, until they realize and close that gate. There's an opportunity for people to own multiple vehicles and just license and insure them for non-Caymanians, but they are taking on a liability. Too late. Cayman is already a communist country. Oh, when I said that dictatorship, see, I got to remember what I say, when you guys comment. Unlimited cars, watches, parcels of land. Okay, so there you go. Open season for people to have multiple cars, and OMG, there you have it. Oh my God. But yeah, but poor little me, I only went as far as being married to a foreign national who hasn't gotten status yet. That household income is going to be impacted by these raising fees. When you look at even the police service themselves, not picking on them, or healthcare services, a lot of them that are working there, are frontline staff, are not Caymanian. And they need to license and insure their cars as well, just like everything else. I don't think that was thought through very quickly. Not to tell you that the prices didn't have to increase, But this thing about putting non-Caymanians, again, I just feel it is being compared as the most expensive driver's license pretty much in the world. And we don't have proper public transportation. So make it make sense. And then going to say that it's not going to impact the domestic market, the locals. Who are you kidding? That is a bunch of hogwash. People are seeing it now. They're feeling it. They know it's about to come. And it is going to impact. I don't care what they say. And it's pretty sad. All the way from Australia. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. It's your winter over there. No, is it winter? your summer in Australia now, isn't it? Yeah. Thank you for joining us. See, I tell you, we going all over the world. Thank you. Thank you so much. Jimbo, what has happened to Cayman, the quaint, peaceful, tropical island? Ain't nothing happened to Cayman. Ain't a darn thing happen. We just need gatekeepers. We need persons in positions to start listening and not thinking that, you know what we need, Jim? People need to start speaking. People need to start speaking. This will continue to be a runaway train if we continue to be with this mentality of, as long as it's not on my doorstep, it doesn't impact me. We got proof that 60% of the businesses here in the Cayman Islands are small businesses. Okay? 60%. And at the end of the day, these fees are definitely needed to balance the budget. But at what cost? So the chances of this being withdrawn or pulled back, ladies and gentlemen, is slim to none. If you're going to balance the budget, guess what? If at anything, it's going higher up. I've also heard the disappointment that the civil servants are not aware that they're going to be getting any cost of living increase, no COLA this year. They were hoping that it would have actually been, but there's no announcement as yet. Maybe that's going to be their little Christmas gift, and maybe there will be a statement being made on the floor of Parliament later on this week. If it's not now for Christmas, maybe you'll have something for the first quarter of 2026. Who's to tell? But up to 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, they were not aware that they were getting any COLA. And again, if the budgets are tight, if all of these fees now being introduced do not come to fruition, then we could be in a little pickle here in this country where the budget. So we just have to be understanding. I guess you have to trust the government that they know what they're doing, that they've done their research, and all of these fee increases and hikes were actually consulted on and they were properly advised that it wouldn't impact, or the fear mongering and the scaring wouldn't run people from here. But to say that it won't impact locals, I think that's BS. It's going to actually impact every person on this island and all immigration statuses, including however you want to categorize a Caymanian. I only have one Caymanian. Once your status, you Caymanian. If you're born here, you Caymanian. I think it's going to impact everybody at some point in time. And if that is definitely the case to balance the budget, this is only probably phase one of what's to come. Okay. There's another blogger or content creator that always says, be prepared for what's to come, and for what's to come, be prepared. And I quote. So that's not original. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very interesting how this plays out. But yeah, let's delve into what transpired, please, over the weekend, because at the end of the day, the Cayman Islands is known as to be one of the safest places in the Caribbean. And when you hear about crime at 7 Mile Beach, pretty much what's your first thought? Do you think about, oh my God, because I heard that. Oh my God, they're hitting a tourist? No. That's a no. And I was like, they shouldn't be hitting anybody. But I get what they were saying. What people were not saying is that when you start messing with one of our bloodlines or income and you're targeting our tourist, OMG, that's bigger. But that isn't what they were saying. At the end of the day, our reputation is at stake. Okay. So your first thought, I'm quite sure, safety, reputation, and accountability. Who's going to really, really be doing this? All right. The immediate consequences of this, especially cruise passengers being robbed and then a woman just trying to step in, being injured. Can you imagine without context exactly someone planning their holiday or their New Year trip here and they're just hearing this, understanding the power of media nowadays? And those victims are all going to have a story of the Cayman Islands. And when they go back and they tell their friends or they're having these conversations, the first thing should be up, and the immediate concerns is visitor safety. And also emotionally, because I'm hurt. Locals are hurt. The emotional impact, not only on the visitor, the victims, but on every local. How do you explain this as a tour bus operator, someone working at one of the local stores, that, someone come in here and they ask you, oh, is the Cayman Islands safe? I'm quite sure, without hesitation, you say yes. And you wouldn't be lying. What we're saying is, this is not the first time something like this has happened, but so blatant. We have heard persons go to the beach and they have put their stuff down and they're in the water and they come back and they find stuff. Okay, you call it petty. There's a reason why I'm saying it like this. But then you see where it's gone to now? It keeps ballooning. It keeps ballooning. It keeps getting bigger. And this is why it has to be nipped in the bud. There's been allegations of all sorts of stuff happening at the public beach, that you have your regulated vendors, you have your unregulated people who are there. And I am telling you, under the former Minister of Tourism, this was something that was brought up, and it is a delicate, delicate situation. It was something that was inherited, never properly addressed at pace, and here we continue to spiral. And I am feeling that at the end of the day, without proper, whether you're going to call them paid beach wardens, but is that what we want for public beach? I can recall the days when you can go there and you could get in under a cabana and you could just have your Sunday picnics with your family. I was one who frequent that, my family and I used to do that till it got where you had to reserve your cabana through, was it DOE? And you had to pay, or no, you reserve it. Or was there a nominal fee? Anyhow, you had to reserve and you had to put your license up on the cabana. And that was your ticket to say, look, I got this cabana from Sunday, whatever the date is, from this time to this time, and I would state what I'm doing. And that was my license. And no matter who came there, at the end of the day, they knew that they were then so-called couldn't take over that cabana because I had filed the necessary paperwork, right? And I'm going to be honest with you, that was the eroding of it. But back then, you could go and you could have clear sight of the ocean. You could see down, the kids were swimming, you had the nice cement blocks that were there. If you wanted to take your own grill or the grill was there, the garbage was emptied in a timely manner. And then all of a sudden now, you had one flotation business, then you had the wave runners every now and again would come, and now bang, you got this. Well, I can tell you for sure, the former minister did not want it to continue. Yes, because he tried to hold on to what we know public beach is or was. Now it's a huge past tense. You can barely go down there now without being hassled. If you're lucky enough to get a tent, because if it's not church, it's some big time party. If not, people are staying there. And then the chairs and the umbrellas and everything else is being sold to you. It's not even as though you're in Cayman. That is not what the public beach is or what its intended purpose. Failure from Caymanians now, guess what? We already paying to go on our beach, if you want to do it in peace. Let me tell you how I came to that conclusion. If your family now, even though it's different from what we call picnicking back in the day when we had access to a public beach, say from you going to Weston that has a beach and your family put together when occupancy is decent and you rent a cabana and you're there for the day. That's the only piece you get to enjoy your beach, Of course, there's Governor's Beach. There was plans as well under the previous administration and the previous minister for bathrooms to be built at Governor's site and for certain like shower stalls, but not full-fledged because here we go again. They're abusing, they're mashing them up. They're mashing up the public restrooms. And it is alleged that car wash persons are going there and filling up drums of water. You know what that utility bill is? That water bill is? Yeah. But I am here to tell you that when you see this happens with our tourists, this is something that needs to stop now. Our brand is safety. The Cayman Islands brand when it comes to tourists is friendliness and what left of our world-class beaches. Okay? We don't need this type of behavior happening. And I will implore my colleagues to let's deal with this now. We're talking about I see a comment here. We're talking about the beach vending and the robbery that took place on 7 Mile Beach. That's what we're talking about. Yeah. So that's what we're talking about. Marshall, first of all, the government needs to renew revenue, but the increase should have been gradually. This was about the driver's license. Yes, people are saying it should have been in a phase. It should have been a phase approach. Hugh, we're a British overseas territory jurisdiction. The Cayman Islands is British overseas. Yes. Hugh, are you an African? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah. So at the end of the day, I don't even understand what you're talking about. Andrew, good news will spread to 5 people by word of mouth. Bad news spreads like virus. You're quite right, Andrew. When the international world is seeing all of this through the internet, our situation will not be favorable. It is a point where we actually spend a lot of money on marketing the Cayman Islands, but when we market, we should also put in place the necessary safeguarding measures so that our reputation isn't damaged, I feel, Andrew. And this is a signal because I've only grazed the surface on what we have seen at deterioration in what's happening at the public beach. Our locals themselves, Andrew, have been complaining that we don't have no place to go and that place is now mayhem. Now, it's one thing to go to the beach and you may have a food truck or something like that. But what it has ballooned into, what it has become, is not really what was envisaged. And now, without proper enforcement, everything is being sold there. And that is the lack, whether or not of enforcement arm or proper regulations. It could be a combination of both. Like I commented, what has happened to Cayman? Not peaceful anymore. And Wanda, Ladden Watler Public Beach police officer, they manned 24/7 with the CPR training and our people and visitors alike. What happened to the 4-wheelers they bought to patrol the 7 Mile Beach? I don't know, Wanda. I haven't seen those in the newspapers for a while because we would see them patrolling like during the Easter time. But I'm feeling that maybe this is going to be something else that's going to probably come up a little bit more. And for us to really keep that, the funding is there. That new funding that was given to the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service will now take it into effect on the 1st of January. So let's hope with all of this now that we will see a ramp up in surveillance and patrols, but understanding that this is going to be an island-wide thing. And we also have to look at just general safety, even community safety as a whole. So what we don't want is this international news going to the point where it just spins a different narrative. And this is why you get ahead of these things, prove your statistic, do a robust tourism campaign, understanding our season is picking up right now, and this making the headlines. It's not something that you can't get ahead of, but also at the same time, make sure that the necessary enforcements are there in order to show that we are being proactive and reactive all at the same time so that this can be combated. What we don't want is a proliferation of this type of crime, be it this time of the year or otherwise. We don't want it. But to say that the public beach site isn't something that really needs to be looked at and be dealt with ASAP is an understatement. It is an understatement. It really needs to be looked at. I invite your comments, your WhatsApp messages, or even your call-ins. 345-936-8255 is the number to call to join in on this conversation. Again, please do not discount that I'm not being considerate of the vendors. For every person who earns a living from being a vendor, depend on tourism for their livelihood. No matter where you are, be it you're out by the old tower building site, or maybe you're one of those water sports operators that actually deal with down by the 7 Mile Beach, okay? I am very cognizant that this is your bread and butter, right? But our visitors, be it cruise, be it stayover, be it returning visitors who own property here and they come here for extended period of time, they expect security at all times because we know what the Cayman Islands is. We know what we're about, but the road, the trajectory that we're going on, this is not where we need to go. So at the end of the day, it's a bit about balance of empathy, being fair, being understanding, but we must protect livelihoods. But safety is non-negotiable, in my humble opinion. It is non-negotiable. Yeah. What's up with you people? Like governing things you ever heard? Too much oversight can be terrible. Too much of anything can be terrible. Oh, that's to your opinion. Be kind, please. If you're going to comment, yeah, that's your opinion. I actually like cruising. I like cruising, but at the end of the day, we're looking at the safety of the jurisdiction of the Cayman Islands. We need to look at long-term as well, where we have possible community watch programs. This could be another opportunity as well for beach wardens. To be honest, it could be an opportunity for Caymanians who may want a job as well to actually look into this area, because we're still number one of the leading destinations in the Caribbean. And I feel that just for a few bad actors, we shouldn't lose that. We shouldn't lose that, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, what I need to drive home is that Cayman's reputation for safety must never be taken for granted. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day, we need to all speak up when it's actually impacting one of our main lines of revenue. Safety is key. Safety is key. And that can impact all sectors. It can impact the financial industry. Definitely, it's going to dent our tourism. And look at the trickle-down effect. look at the trickle-down effect to all of our service providers in the hospitality industry. Yeah. So we can actually celebrate the holidays, still be thankful that the Cayman Islands is one of the safest places in the Caribbean to be, and that we're going to ask those who are in those positions, especially the operational arm of government, to please, please, please do what you have to do to make sure that a reoccurrence of this, be it on the public beach, be it on the waterfront for no pickpockets and all of that sort of stuff, that this stops now. We do not want this impacting our product, because I can tell you, sometimes you cannot repair the damage, because those individuals who have been impacted by this now, I mean, some of you may say, well, there are other jurisdictions, this happen every day. So what? The Cayman Islands has pride itself for a high reputation when it comes to safety, and especially with our tourists. You will have very important people, movie stars, entertainers, that sort of stuff coming here, and you don't have people flocking them. You don't have people, we respect their space. I had to get a present for somebody one night. It was a Saturday night. It was at Cayman Bay. No, not Cayman Bay. The Strand. Those days, Kirk Freeport was still there. Anyhow, I ran in quickly, had to purchase a gift card. And there was a lady standing up next to me. And she read that I was in a rush. And I wasn't rude or anything. Of course, I went. I stood up. I waited my time. But it looks as though she was looking at something in the case that just so happened to have been next to the checkout. When she said, "It's okay, I'm still shopping," I realized it was Halle Berry. Now, of course, I got a little starstruck, but I'm like, girl, hold your shit together. Hold it together. Hold it together. I said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it." And all we did was swap places. She came where I was. I went closer to the register. I checked out and I left. I didn't go gung-ho at all. I didn't go crazy. And that's one of the things that the Cayman Islands is known for, that we respect them, because at the end of the day, they're on vacation. They like their privacy. And that's one of the things that gives us our high ratings for, that sort of stuff. And this is why it means a lot to me for some of you who may think that I'm rambling on, but make these occurrences keep happening and you will understand. You will thank me. You will thank me for bringing this to the head. Okay? We are unique. We are special. There are lots of other jurisdictions that can sell sun, sea, lots of fun, even more embracing of their own culture when compared to us. But the thing that keeps coming back about the Cayman Islands is our safety, our cleanliness, and when they do get to interact with Caymanians, how warm and friendly we are. However, it is being stated that they need to see a lot more of us in the hotel industry and in the tourism industry. But we are there. We are there. For every minibus driver, for every taxi driver, for everyone who opens a door, for everyone who's selling those handmade artifacts like my ladies from West Bay and the thatching and all of those, from all of those who are working at the turtle farm, at the turtle center. This is going to impact you. And this is why I want to put a spotlight on this very important topic. Yeah. This is not isolated by any means. So at the end of the day, hold on, I got a message here. Okay. Oh, a comment came in that what was said during the campaign, the last campaign, that our tourism product is garbage, quote by the now Deputy Premier Gary Ruddy in the election. And at that time, that was at the chamber debate. And at that time, he was speaking about the public beach. So here we have an incident now, and I'm hoping now, remember now, this particular administration, their agenda, what they're going to deliver in their term, officially kicks off under their budget January 1st. Right now, everything pretty much that they were doing is what was remaining from the former administration. A lot of the things that are now being pushed over the finish line were actually, and I thank them for continuing, because from far too long we have seen where after an election, things just go dead. They stop, nothing is happening. But a lot of the things, which speaks volumes, a lot of the things within some of these ministries, a lot of the ministries were stuff that were not finished from the past administration. And this is why it is good for you to follow through and pay close attention, because really and truly, the strategic policy statement of the things that this particular government wants to do now was what they tabled on the floor of Parliament. So everything that they're doing now, yes, is a tie over of what was already started, because it's going to benefit the people of this island. It didn't matter who group at the end of the day. Once it is benefiting the people, I thank them for continuing. Jim, everything being sold there, drugs included, that's at the public beach. Okay, sorry, that. I'm going to, where the hell some of these people coming out from? I'm going to block some of you if you're not being nice. Andrew, that's the first warning, okay? 100% agree, Andrew, agree 100%. This is critical to our livelihood. The Maldives are very expensive, and only people who can afford to vacation go there because it's safe. There we go. There we go. Andrew, what is to be considered is that people who are Caymanians, and this is our home, this is near and dear to us. And we want to actually make sure that we protect our reputation. Let me tell you, from the existence of time, the Cayman Islands was unique in our ability to adapt, our ability to sustain ourselves, our ability to be versatile and still come out faring out on the top. But what we're noticing now recently is that now that is being challenged with our own sustainability, with our own survival, because we are seeing a disjointment. We're seeing separation. But more so, looking back from where we're coming from, there was more togetherness, Andrew. And I think that is going to be our weakest link. We've already established that our Indigenous people are in the lower percentage rate. That should mean we stick together even more moving forward. Mood Cruise, how are you? There should not be vending on the beach, period. When you go to the beach, bring your own refreshments. Tourists too. The beach is for recreation, not commerce. That was the mindset of the former minister. I mean, you had Calico Jacks that were there. You had, I think, Jiffo, or one was across the road, whatever the case may be. I'm talking specifically about public beach. And people really just, it was Mood Cruise. That was the unique thing about going. You saw people taking their grills. They took their own food. You saw people with their bag lunch. And they did it all there. That was the joy about going there. But now, you can barely get one of the huts now. Now, do we need other sites for public beaches? We're seeing where they're going east. But why shouldn't the Indigenous people, why shouldn't Caymanians be able to, why shouldn't our own be able to enjoy the best side of our island, so to speak, where the water quality is concerned? Now, this is by no means bashing Rum Point, Cayman, Kai, nothing like that. Please don't get me wrong. I just prefer the water on the 7 Mile Beach. For some reason, every time I go in the water up at Northside, that side, I get I guess you'd call that CH from the turtle grass, even if it's not close proximity. I still go and I still enjoy my island, but at the end of the day, I still prefer the water along the 7 Mile Strip. That's my personal preference. Now, I love that end of the island because it reminds me very much like Cayman Brac. It's very, I would say, cottage like. You really feel like you're on an island when you're out north side, the eastern districts. And but it's just, for me, the water quality is better along the 7 Mile corridor. And this is why Caymanians are now feeling at the end of the day that that's done. People will tell you straight, they can't even think of the last time they've been on a picnic as we know it on public beach, because where is it? Yeah. So there we go. Plain and straight at Mood Cruise. Absolutely correct. No business on the beach. Well, like I said, this was supported by a large number, but again, you got to get consensus. Consensus is the majority, and that was one of the biggest problems. That was the biggest problem. And I'm now that the now Deputy Premier, Mr. Ruddy, who's also the tourism minister, acknowledged during the campaign that tourism product is garbage. That's a quote. Let's see what's in store. And I'm hoping that they really then deal with the public beach. And it would be good to know in the public's domain, what is the plans for addressing that? Yeah. So at the end, there's no public beach left, Connie. Yeah. I mean, where is it? There's none. There's none. And that is the sad part, because outside, saved by the Governor's Beach, saved by, and I'm talking about the 7 Mile Strip, saved by Governor's Beach and what we know as public beach, you're pretty much trespassing on other people's property outside of that. I mean, you have your 6-foot right of way, and you have right to be on the beach up to the high water mark. But if that is indeed the case, where do you put your igloo? Where do you put your towel if it's to the high water mark, if you only have a 6-foot right of way to get access to the water? Think about that. You have these 6-foot right of way to get to the ocean. That's an access point. But when you get there and you get to the beach, public is to the high water mark. Outside of that, you're probably on a condominium property that's probably going to have a security guard out there telling you no trespassing, or you're going to have quartered off chains or signs saying no trespassing, guests only. Where do you go? Where do you go? One song comes back to mind. Jack don't want me to bathe on my beach. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to become of this, despite there being CH out there now. I'm going to delve a little bit into the vendor, the culture, and the enforcement part of things as well. Jim, Rum Point used to be incredible. Fill a cooler, take your blankets, towels, snorkeling gear, fishing pole, and spend the entire day hassle-free, relaxing, and a great for the mind, body, and soul. Those days are long gone. Jimbo, you're quite right, because here we go again. If you're not on a private, there is a public beach there, but that's on a side that has a lot of turtle grass too. I stand to be corrected. Now, it's good if you're going over in a wave runner, if you're going over on a boat with some friends. Starfish Point is really good as well. And off of Rum Point Club, is that it? Where Red Seals now own, I think. I stand to be corrected. But yeah, if you go out there and you anchor off and you have a good day, but really for someone just wanting to just drive out there, you're pretty much paying to be on your beach. If you look at what remains. Yeah. So 936-8255 to get your opinion, weigh in on this discussion, even though it's not immigration today. You guys are something else, you guys are something else. But don't worry, tomorrow we can pick it up. We can pick it up tomorrow. I just felt it was very important for those of you who just coming to class that I highlight this, because this beach vending problem, it is a problem. It has been a problem. It needs to be addressed. Our Deputy Premier acknowledged that our tourism product is garbage. And I'm going to be very honest with you. this is one of the things that he needs to actually take into hand. Keith Art says, tourists are looking for Caymanians. You're quite right. Where are they? We're all ambassadors. So yeah, there we go. Not against anyone, but speaking for East End, I think the less development and crowding from tourists this way, the better it is. It is so peaceful and it needs to stay that way. So we who live here can continue to enjoy. Thank you so much, Leanne Christian. There you go. And don't worry, them Easterners will tell you where to get off. Good evening, caller. Welcome to Sabrina Speaks. You're live. What's on your mind?
Hi, how are you doing?
I am fair to fine.
You were talking about the beach.
Mm-hmm. The vendors and then the robbery.
No, 6 feet.
Oh, the right of way. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The government's been fighting not to register those access points.
You're saying that the government has been fighting not to register them?
Yeah.
So for those that have the signs, wouldn't they be deemed registered?
Not all of them, no. Well, I think the ones where the signs are put up, that might be the case. But there are plenty more that doesn't have signs that affidavits were signed for. And there were even tricks like asking that the affidavits be done over. But you don't need to do over an affidavit because that's a statement of fact. And if you want to do over a statement of fact after people have died, we know what you're up to.
Yeah. Oh, wow. And I noticed that some of those access ways as well have been blocked by shrub. And it's like, would it be government responsible for clearing them? And then.
Yes, they should be. But you see, this is the part that Caymanians don't wrap their minds around. When the government says that it's going to do something and they don't do it, then what? At that point, Caymanians do nothing. In other words, the promises of the government is useless because whenever they decide not to uphold their promise, then too bad for everyone else. Right? And so we are the ones who hold the government accountable, but we fail each other by not participating in this civil society.
Gotcha.
But about like where can you be on the beach? That isn't necessarily 6 feet. It might be 6 feet in some places. It might be much larger in other places. And in some places, it might be hard to tell. Might be none at all.
Might be none at all. Correct. Which was the point I was trying to drive home.
Because the way it used to be that it was up to the vegetation line.
But that was changed.
But then people started playing with that. And then it got changed to the high water mark. But what the high water mark means is that twice a year the moon comes closer to the earth than normal, and we get what are called king tides. And those king tides cause the water to come up the beach higher than it normally would as the waves wash up on the sand. And the high water mark is measured by how high the water comes at the times of the at the king tides, which is twice a year.
Yep. The last one was October. I think we're on the last end of it now.
So the water actually comes up much farther up the beach at that time than it normally would. So where you're able to be on the beach is usually higher than some people think it is. It's not just where you see the sand wet on some days, right? It's higher than that.
But it's hard to tell with all of these signs and no trespassing.
Well, what happens in those situations is that you end up in a disagreement with someone about what is their property or not.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe there is a deliberate effort
Gotcha.
to make the 7 Mile Beach be private. And this is why the beach access points are so important. Because what um, the DART organization was proposing to do was to collect all of the beach accesses on the point in the parts that he owns and relocate them to
One area.
to the 7 as an addition to the 7 Mile Beach property. Um, that's not how it's supposed to work at all.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you obtain the right to access the beach at those different points, that is what is described as an indefeasible right, meaning that you just can't pick it up and move it somewhere else. Your
Mm-hmm.
right exists in that specific location.
Gotcha.
The problem that you create when you relocate the beach access points to that central location of the public beach is that you don't have entry points, access points along the beach anymore,
Mm-hmm.
which means that the only way you can access the beach would be by the public beach or on both ends of
And
the beach, which will you have the net effect over time of meaning that much of the 7 Mile Beach would essentially and effectively become private over time. Now, legally, it'll still be, oh, you can access the beach, but who's actually going to walk down the beach to
to
access those
access it.
points?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that practice of not doing that is what's going to make it disappear. But we're being conned into it, and we're too afraid to stand up for our rights. And so our rights will be taken from us.
So, but even with the persons who make their living in this industry, they're Caymanians, because you can't be a foreigner without an LCCL. A question was asked, who's selling on the beaches? Are these folks Caymanians? Those were the only ones.
They would be.
They would be Caymanians. Yes, they
Yeah.
would be. But if this is the case, that them and along with nationally, these should be the conversations being had with our powers that be.
Yeah, well, nothing would prevent the government from saying, well, you can operate on the beach, but here's how you'll have to do it so that you're not being a nuisance to
To
people.
people.
Like, if you just think about how it functions when someone operates out of let's say out of a hotel,
Mm-hmm.
they have a storefront, in one of the places at the hotel,
Mm-hmm.
and let's say it's jet skis. The jet skis are in the water,
Correct.
and they're not walking up and down soliciting business on the beach. You go
Mm-hmm.
to that storefront and you either do business with them or you stay on the beach and mind your own business.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes some people do things in ways that you would wish that they didn't. But and it usually causes problems for everyone else.
But obviously, there's a demand for these vendors there. If
Yeah, well,
it wasn't that
of
case,
course,
they wouldn't be there.
not only that, if they were not there, then
We're
people would be saying there's nothing to do.
correct.
Right? So all that really needs to be done is some
Regulations.
understanding about an understanding about what would be a good compromise for businesses to live within. And I think I don't like the idea of solicitation.
Correct. The
You know,
panhandling
you-
style of things is what we don't want. If it's going to be regulated, I think they have those little stick buildings there that they could actually use them. If that is properly regulated and monitored and stuff, however amount they are, that they're only there for the confines. But all of these darn tarpaulins, all of these chairs that are there, it is just blocking up where people could literally be sunbathing or spreading their towels or bringing their own umbrella. It's a delicate balance, to be honest. But
Yeah.
what it has become, it's almost like a market on the beach.
Yeah. But part of the, I think the chairs is one of the businesses. Like
Mhm.
they rent chairs to visitors off the ship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But again, it has to be separated in such a way that, you know, people, it's not depriving people of the use of the beach.
Correct. And really now that's what, as Tartarian says, there is no way a vendor can make enough money to pay rent, much less a mortgage. It's a waste of time. Let the tourists enjoy themselves in peace. That's what attracts
you know-
tourists here, peace of mind.
Well, I'm not necessarily thinking that you have to go and rent some big area and have extreme overheads. That's not what I'm suggesting. I'm suggesting that where people would actually sign the paperwork to, say, get on a jet ski, for
The waiver,
example,
indemnity.
needs to be, there needs to be a setback from the people enjoying the beach and where that person is located.
Right.
And that person shouldn't be going out and soliciting
Right
people
there.
on the beach
Correct.
for business. You have a little table or whatever it is that they agree upon that should be there, your little sign. And if people want to come and rent from you, they come and rent from you because they know you're there, right? But you shouldn't be, trying to just relax and enjoy yourself on the beach, and then you're answering 10 or 15 questions about, no, I don't want this, no, I don't want that, no,
Right.
thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you, no, thank you. That's foolishness.
You're tired. Yeah. It's not relaxing at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Let's see how this plays out, though.
But I was listening to what you were saying about owning cars.
Oh, go ahead.
And the thing is that you can't, and I don't think you should tell people how many cars they can have. But you're right. If somebody is doing it as a business, then they should have a trade and business license. Now, the reason why I think that would only work to some extent for some people who want to do it as a business is that the business will pay for all of the costs, okay, plus profit would equal the sale price. And so I'm not sure what they would be getting rid of, what costs they would be getting rid of, because whoever owns the car is going to have to pay the cost anyhow, right? It's the driver's license, and that's something to the person. But I don't see how you would escape that part of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, okay. Even if they take up that cost, but it's not like they're doing a double whammy where it's not only the driver's license, but the vehicle as well. So there's
Right,
still
but
a savings for one part of it,
well, you say savings,
so
but
to speak,
but whoever owns the car
is still paying it. So
still
there
paying
isn't
the
no
cost.
savings.
Plus they have to put a profit on top of it.
Correct. So they double more.
So,
Kind of wise, pound foolish.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they're thinking they're going to save money there.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting.
But I mean,
but hold on, no. Remember, Caymanians is zero. So
For what?
Cayman for these Caymanians are not paying the exorbitant fees
for what?
for the cars. I stand to be corrected for licensing of motor vehicles.
Okay, all right, but what is the profit going to be?
It could be half as long as they don't pay that full amount.
Well, it might well be, but the point I'm making is that you're not going to have everybody being able to do that.
I know, I'm just letting you know that there is unintended consequences here. My question really was like how people rent multiple properties, dwellings, would it be the same for cars? And I don't think that is anywhere in right.
Our rental business is brutally
Yeah.
difficult,
You see?
right?
You see?
And let me give you an example. I'm told that you can rent a car for $25 a day. Now, I don't know about you, but okay, so what the problem that you'll have going forward is that the government changed the law to say that you can't bring in a car that's older than 7 years
Correct.
old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the situation that existed before, meaning how cheap you can buy the car initially, that doesn't exist anymore. So the cost of ownership has gone up. And in other words, the situation is going to be that they would be competing against car rental companies.
Right.
And so if you go and you get a trade in this business license, what are you going to say you're doing? Right? Because if you're renting cars, then you're going to take on all of the same obligations
And the liabilities through the roof.
as a car rental company.
Correct.
And then so that puts you in a category. You might think that you just want to do it, just for me, just myself, but that's not how it'll play out. You're going to find yourself having obligations that's going to cost you risk.
Exactly.
And then you're going to have to decide whether you want to take on
that risk or not. Yeah.
And when you start realizing that risk,
It's
if
not
you don't
worth
price it properly, then
Yeah.
it's going to be another story.
Nope.
But I mean, if they want to be a car rental company, it doesn't matter to me, right? I mean, I'm not saying no. I don't want people to have a car rental company. Don't. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I don't think it's going to be quite as lucrative as you think, because you
Correct.
have to understand that the person who needs the transportation is going to have to be able to afford it.
Yep.
And part of the issue that the individual is going to face is that they're going to need to go to their employer and say, well, I need more money. And the employer is still going to have to take on some of that expense.
There we go.
I'm not saying it won't shave a little off, but I would imagine that with the degree of risk that's associated there, the savings
It's not worth it.
Might not be that much.
Yeah.
You might as well just pay your
Suck it up
license
and
fee.
pay and be independent. Be on your own.
Yeah, because owning a rental car now, you have the issue of availability.
Yeah, all that.
And if you need to be to work on time, you can't be in a situation where you don't know if you'll have a rent-a-car today.
But they would have it.
And
because it's theirs.
But rent it for how long, right? Like you got to be able to afford to do that.
The length of the license.
Right. And then when you hand it back in, then the question is, how do you get back there to get it? Or are they going to deliver it to you and all sorts of?
All I know,
that's
everything that we're saying here is going to require profound enforcement.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the gatekeepers again.
Yeah. And I would imagine that what's going to happen in some instances is that people will do it illegally.
That is the fair. There will be a lot more licensed vehicles on the road.
Yeah. And so I would imagine that what will happen there is that the people who drive like idiots will find that when they get in an accident,
they run,
and the insurance company raises the premiums on the owner of the car, then the likelihood of the person continuing that activity would be decreased, or the cost of doing it would go up.
Danny, in a perfect world, maybe. Let me tell you something.
No, the insurance company is going to raise the fee.
Exactly. But
you make a claim, they're going to raise your premium.
I'm out there going about my merry way, going to the grocery store, for example, adhering to the speed limits, and some maniac that I've observed today, a lot of them on the road going crazy, hits me. And just by chance, they're not licensed or insured. I get the inconvenience of their bad driving. They may leave me without a, a vehicle because of the damage, for example, sustained. I have to deal with that civil because they were driving probably without license and insurance. And unless they fork it out, that leaves for me to claim on my insurance. Let me tell you something. Jungle
I
justice,
agree with you.
jungle
I agree
justice
with
is
you.
going to be on steroids.
That's it. Now, we're assuming
Mhm.
that people are going to behave this way,
Yes.
right? It might be true, but we don't know to what extent. It might not be as bad as we think it will be. I don't know. But I agree with you that the scenario that you just outlined could very well be the case. And you end up having to claim on your own insurance because the others isn't insured.
Mhm.
Um, I know that people are frustrated with that how people drive on the road.
There's crazy out there.
But
Why?
I have a theory on why. I think that we have an inadequate uh, transportation network. Think about it. Not until just recently could you couldn't get any farther than what Newlands Road on the bypass, right?
Mhm.
And remember, for a long time, you didn't even have that.
Correct.
You just had Shamrock Road, one road all the way around to Rum Point
Mhm.
and one little thing in North Side. That's absolute craziness. Because if you have a fender bender,
Mhm.
people rubberneck constantly
Mhm.
on that. And God forbid if somebody wraps themselves around a light pole. Everybody's late for work
Mhm.
because the police is going to lock down the
The road.
road and it's just going to be a mess. If you only what that means in the mind of a person, whether you think it makes sense or not, what it means is they're going to be late for work.
Yeah.
And in their minds, they can't be late for work because they'll get fired. So they're going to do dumb things not to be fired. But if you think, okay, well, but that doesn't justify them doing dumb things. I agree with you. But I understand why it would lead to that. It wouldn't lead to that if you had another route that you could take uh, other than the road that was blocked off because there was a major accident. You could still get to work on time and it wouldn't be a nightmare.
But that other
I know
route.
I know it's not gonna completely eliminate
Correct.
all
Because
crazy
I was going to
driving.
say both places
Yeah,
would be prone to accidents if people are just not paying attention.
that's
Uh,
correct.
I was on Shamrock Road, my cousin and I yesterday, and she said, "No, man, that car must be broke down." And of course, we got up to the scene, and on the stretch of Shamrock Road, it looks as though the person was on the inside lane coming into town just before you reach Ocean Club and going to turn into oh god, the name just escapes me. Where Kenny in them is right there. Cascades. And looks as though they were rear end, just trying to get in.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
yeah,
how the heck does that happen on a straight?
yeah.
If the
But
person stops in the road, indicating just waiting to go into Cascades, how does it happen on a straight?
something as simple as that could cause hundreds of
Correct.
feet, if not more, of traffic backed up just because of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why it's insanity for government to be depending on one single road. Which brings me to this question. When are we going to get the East-West arterial finished?
Well, it's roughed in right now to Agricola Way. The continuation, I don't know. I guess that could be another parliamentary privilege statement if the minister or whoever wants to speak on it. I think the country is looking for an update. From what I'm gathering, and I stand to be corrected, there were some bit of funds for works to continue. To what extent, to what depth, I don't know. It has gotten very quiet though.
Yes, but because there are people fighting to prevent it from happening, and they do so quietly. Okay, but having one road for that large segment of Grand Cayman is not a good idea.
Well, we got people agreeing. We do need the East-West arterial bypass and pay for it because of the amount of traffic. Jim Norris says that roadway must get done. And
yes,
go ahead.
What I was going to say is that the purpose of that impact assessment was not to say whether or not the road would be built.
It was water flow, amongst other things, and noise.
It was what?
Water. The hydrological.
No.
Go ahead.
No, the purpose of the study was not to say whether or not the road would be built, because that political decision can only be made by cabinet.
Correct.
And cabinet made the decision that the road would be built.
Correct.
The purpose of the EIA is to say how, not if the road would be built, but how the road would be built. Because those are two completely different concepts, right? So if the road would be built is a political decision, how the road would be built is just a management decision, right?
You're quite right.
The best way to get it done.
Quite right.
But not if it's going to be done. And so the problem I have with what's happening is how it's going to be done is being used as an excuse to what is the word? To frustrate if the road should be built. Follow that?
Got you loud and clear. I was there,
and
I knew it was
taking
too long.
Too long.
And I'm sure I know for a fact it's too long.
It's unacceptable.
People are saying the eastern districts are suffering.
That's right. The public needs to make sure that the government, when I say the government, I mean those who hold the title of minister. You make sure they understand that they have to make that a priority, because that has a profound impact upon the efficiency that we can operate at as a country. Right? It's not acceptable that people are getting to work late and getting written up and losing their jobs because they can't get to work on time. That's not acceptable. It's a failure of government to act as expeditiously as it needs to for the benefit of the entire country.
Devil's advocate here. As a minister, it's not that you won't, it's almost to the point that you actually want to go and sit in a heavy equipment and go and do it yourself. What if the processes of actually getting it done is what's slowing it down?
You remember that I said
the operational side of things.
You remember what I said, that when you go to do the appropriations bill, instead of just saying, here's what we want to do, because
timelines.
Yes, right. That's right. Because the reason for that is that you then can hold people accountable. What happens is that
unfortunately, that's not the job of the minister. Minister can't
Well,
hold the operational
no,
arm accountable.
no. Okay. If I plan a project,
Hmm.
there, there are reasonable time frames in which you can accomplish things. Don't tell me that it takes you 4 times longer than it would take the private sector to do something, and you think that's a great job.
Caller,
Don't
how long
don't
have
tell
we been
don't tell
on
me.
this topic for this East-West arterial? How long?
Well,
How much
that is,
administrations?
but that is because you're playing by the rules other than what I'm describing.
Gotcha.
You
Gotcha. 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 Gotcha.
you just said we want an east-west arterial,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't say you wanted it in your lifetime.
Good God. Oof.
That's the problem,
Gotcha.
right? You have to change that.
Mm-mm.
You can't, it is unacceptable to say that you hand something over to managers that can't tell you when it's going to be done. That is unacceptable. I would never agree to propose such a project to the country without those kinds of constraints.
But even if you get timelines, they don't have to whatever, and then it's left to the minister to constantly be
Okay.
reporting, and the ministers then are put in the front line saying you don't worth a grain of salt because you can't deliver a darn road. How much terms am I going to
And
give you if you can't deliver the road? Not understanding it is really the pace is not the ministers.
I understand it's not the ministers. However, the appropriation bill should set out a time frame in which the project will be completed. In other words, when cabinet is paying for the project to be done, there is a schedule and payment. You see, civil servants get paid right now because there is no schedule. Civil servants get paid no matter whether the public benefits from the project or not. But that is unacceptable. That is third world nonsense. Every construction project has to have a timeline in which you operate because we incur costs by dragging it out.
Mhm.
Now, explain to me why I should just pay civil servants to work on trying to get something done and trying to get something done and trying to get something done and never get it done. Why should I do that? Explain to me why that is value for money,
Mhm.
the public's money. Tell me why it's value.
Mhm.
Because I think you'd be hard pressed to explain why something should cost 2 or 3 times more than what it should.
Right.
And the process requires that you demonstrate value for money. So all I'm saying to you is this, is if politicians are willing to argue these positions, then they can hold the civil service accountable to get things done within a certain time frame because the payments are connected to the schedule of the project.
Fear of
But
not being reelected because you rocked the boat.
well, I understand that there would be politicians who would be afraid to do that. Um, what I would say to you about that is that don't reelect the popular ones who operate that way. You need to put people in there who are willing to change things in a way that it actually benefits the country. Because what's happening right now is we're getting shafted.
Hmm.
The the cost of living just keeps going up and
Yes.
up and up and up and up and up. And let me just explain something just in case there's someone who might not understand. The money that's being spent is not somehow government's money that they acquired from some mysterious means.
Hmm.
That's our money that they tax us for, and they're spending it on our behalf, supposedly for our interests.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has to be reasonably priced because otherwise you're not getting value for money.
Correct.
So why would you allow or vote for someone, repeatedly putting them back into office to do the same nonsense over and over?
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like insanity to me.
Correct.
So here's the problem. If the budget of the government is going up, that in and of itself doesn't mean that something is awry.
Mm-hmm.
But if the amount that the budget is of the gross product of the country, then if that percentage is becoming a larger fraction of the gross percentage,
Mm-hmm.
gross production of the country, then that means that government is becoming less and less efficient, or it is overspending.
Spending. Mm-hmm.
One of the two,
Yeah.
or both.
Very interesting times.
And we have to have government function in such a way that it is efficient.
Yeah.
I know I spoke to Minister Ruddy prior to the election about his plans, and he thinks that you could run government like a business. In some respects you can, in some ways you can't, because it's not measured in dollars.
Speak it louder.
It's measured in right.
Correct.
And those things you can't measure by money. But in some respects, he's right.
Mm-hmm.
And an example for me is the East-West Arterial.
Right.
If you had people in power who had the interest of the public at heart and wanting to do the project efficiently, they would structure the language of in the legislative process so that when the deputy governor takes that element of the Appropriations Act and hand it over to the appropriate agencies to complete the work, it would not just be, here, get this done whenever you get around to it. It would be, the government has decided that this is a project we need to get done in 5 years, 10 years, or this segment in 5, that's other segment within 10 years, this other segment in 15 years, or whatever the intervals are, right? But you just can't have it so that, whenever we get to it, we get to it. That is totally unacceptable. I mean, I can't even express how much I disagree with that kind of mindset.
Wow.
When I know that there are some people that are using the opportunity to try to prevent it from happening at all. That, I mean, they have the right to oppose something. What they don't have a right to is to use positions, their positions, their official positions as civil servants, to frustrate government's policy. That's way out of order.
This is of national importance. We have heard it from all over. And like I said, not speaking on behalf of anybody that's there, but the consensus was get it done. During my time.
But saying get it done and having a legal requirement to get it done
exactly is another
two completely different things.
Correct.
One is an opinion, the other is law.
one thing happened is that the roughed in of the spur that came into play, that got done, but that didn't alleviate a lot of the traffic from those, because it was supposed to be up by drive-in theater and then further on to continue. But we have another show coming up at 7, Denny. I don't want to cut you off. Please continue, but we got to rein it in.
I completely understand. But just suffice it to say this: the public plays a role.
Yes.
If
Huge.
your voice is not heard,
Correct.
nothing will happen.
Mhm.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, there we have it. This conversation is profound. I know we had other persons waiting to call in, but we tomorrow is going to be back. We're going to bring back up that the Maynard clause for immigration. MEC We Talk is coming on at 7 on cmrtv.com. And of course, I'm making sure that I'm on my best behavior, exiting stage left so that we can make space for the other shows that are coming up here on cmrtv.com. But thank you for those persons who have participated. And even though we didn't get to delve into the vendor side of things, maybe I can do like a 20-minute on that. So that for all of those persons who are making their livelihoods off of the beach vending or vending period in the industry, and they will have their say at the end of the day. But what we need to keep in mind is that the consensus taken away from even the feedback here today is that our public beach should be a place where you just go and relax and just enjoy those who come. We all coexist here, but also where livelihoods are respected as well. But culture is at the forefront of this, that we preserve our culture. Now, the challenge is finding that balance and regulations as well. And at the end of the day, vendors and locals alike, while ensuring that our beautiful Cayman Islands reputation remains one of safety, hospitality, and definitely community. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me this evening from around the world, even in Australia to the UK. You are appreciated. Miss Sue, how are you, my love? I hope you're doing well. And for Connie, Bonnie, and for Jimbo, I'm looking forward for you guys to join me back here tomorrow. Please tell your friends. We're going to try to wrap up the different clause of the immigration amendment transition amendment bill tomorrow evening, because remember now Parliament goes on the 10th and this will be tabled. But I want to thank you all for your messages, your comments, for calling in, and for those who I didn't get to, by all means, we can bring this back up to just wind down this conversation here today, tomorrow. So please tell your friends, we're going to be back tomorrow with the final lap of the immigration bill that's going to be tabled on Wednesday, right? It has been my pleasure bringing you another episode of Sabrina Speaks. Do have a wonderful night. And as always, love you lots. God bless. See you tomorrow.
That's a wrap for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks. Thank you for tuning in and for being part of the conversation. Remember, the dialogue doesn't stop here. Stay engaged, stay informed, and most importantly, stay empowered. We'll be back tomorrow at 5 p.m., same time, same place, right here on CMR TV and radio, where your voice matters and your truth is heard. Until then, Cayman, take care of yourself and each other.
That's it for today's edition of Sabrina Speaks, where your voice matters, your story counts, and your truth is always welcome. Join us weekdays from 5 until 6:30 p.m. right here on CMR TV as we dive into the topics that matter most to you. Catch the show live or on demand at cmrtv.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram so you never miss a moment. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and always speak your truth.